The film opens with an elderly woman named Pilar sitting alone in a cafe in Madrid. She glances at her wristwatch and the hands stop just before 8 o'clock. She gets up and walks to a nearby apartment where she finds an old woman dead on the floor. A birthday cake sits on the table. Inside a drawer, there is a photo of a young woman surrounded by a ring of cut hair. Pilar shows no emotion at all. A short time later, a young woman arrives at the door completely and hands Pilar a matryoshka doll. Pilar lights up. She kneels and kisses her with overwhelming joy. The film then shifts to Paris, where a professional model named Susanna has been living and working for 6 years. She has just finished a shoot and is trying to reach her grandmother by phone. Getting no answer, she leaves a voicemail. She cannot make it back to Madrid in time for their shared birthday on March 22nd. She has a big job coming up. She misses her. She will come home as soon as she can. That evening, Susanna is at a party with colleagues when her phone rings from an unknown number in Spain. It is St. Gabriel's Hospital in Madrid. Her grandmother has had an accident and is still unconscious. Susanna is her only emergency contact and only living relative. She flies to Madrid immediately. At the hospital, a doctor named Romero sits Susanna down and explains what happened. A neighbor found Pilar collapsed at home. The front door had been left open by accident. If it had been closed, Pilar would have died alone. She suffered a brain hemorrhage. A blood vessel burst and damaged a large part of her brain. From now on, Pilar will be partially dependent. Her motor skills and ability to speak have been affected, and she may no longer recognize Susanna. There are no other relatives. Susanna's parents both died in an accident when she was young. It has always been just the two of them. The doctor recommends a specialist nursing home the hospital works with. Susanna thanks her and says no. She wants Pilar to stay in her own home, and she will find someone to care for her there. Susanna brings Pilar back to her apartment in Madrid. The flat is dim and still. The plants are dead. There is an empty bird cage. Pilar silently rises from her wheelchair and stands in front of a massive painting of herself as a young woman. She stares at it without a word. Susanna stays to look after her. Pilar does not speak. She does not react. She watches television and laughs at nothing in particular, which the doctor had suggested might be a side effect of the hemorrhage. Susanna notices that every clock in the apartment has stopped at the same time, just before 8 o'clock. She dismisses it. That night, Susanna feeds Pilar, but Pilar suddenly chokes. Susanna panics and clears the food from her throat. She puts her grandmother to bed, hugs her, and stays close. Later, doing her skincare routine in the bathroom mirror, Susanna notices a single strand of gray hair. Then Pilar screams from her room for no clear reason, terrified, soiling the bed. Susanna cleans her, bathes her, changes her, and puts her back to sleep. She watches YouTube tutorials on how to care for the elderly, how to fit a waterproof sheet, how to put on a nappy, how to turn a patient safely. The doorbell rings the next morning, and it is a young woman named Eva. She explains that their grandmothers were close friends and that she has been visiting Pilar for the past 4 months, helping with housework, running errands, taking her to the park. She has a key. She came because she had not been able to reach Pilar for days and was worried. Susanna explains what happened. Eva is shaken. She spoke to Pilar just the week before and everything seemed fine. Eva also shares that her own grandmother recently passed away. She says that Pilar has told her everything about Susanna, shown her the magazine photos, the advertisements. She is so proud of her. Eva leaves and Susanna thanks her for having looked after her grandmother so faithfully. Susanna continues calling care agencies. Most refuse because of Pilar's condition. Eventually, one agrees to send a caregiver in 2 days. That night, Susanna hears noise in the hallway and finds Pilar talking to someone in an empty room. The lights go out. The door slams shut behind Susanna. When she gets back to Pilar's room, the window she had closed earlier is open again. She locks it. She hears Pilar's door open again. She goes back. Pilar is trembling violently. Susanna calls an ambulance in a panic. Then Pilar simply falls back asleep as if nothing happened. The next morning, while Pilar sleeps, Susanna remembers a childhood diary she kept hidden above the bed, locked with a key behind an old poster. She opens it and reads. One entry describes a shared birthday, March 22nd, when Susanna was 8 years old. Pilar's friend Julita came for the first time, bringing her granddaughter Eva, who was Susanna's age. They were given a red drink that tasted strange but good. That same night, Pilar cut Susanna's hair, no reason given. Susanna reads this out loud to Pilar in the room, almost like she is talking to herself. She says she does not remember any of it. Not the museum trip, not the birthday, not the drink. She says she wrote that she was scared that night, scared of Pilar. She does not know why. She says it does not matter what she tells her grandmother. She could sing a song, talk about a film, tell her who she kissed on New Year's Eve. Pilar cannot hear her. There is no one in there anymore. That afternoon, Susanna goes outside and sees that the perfume brand has already replaced her with another model in their advertisement. She calls her agent Elvira and says she will be back in Paris soon. The caregiver is arriving tomorrow, but when she gets back to the apartment, Pilar is gone. Susanna searches the streets for hours. She calls the police and reports her missing. When she finally returns to the apartment, Pilar is already there, sitting silently in front of the door, as if nothing happened. The next morning, the caregiver, Adela, arrives. She is warm and direct. She greets Pilar by name, crouches to her level, and tells her they are going to get along very well. She will come back officially at 11 the next morning so Susanna can leave for Paris that afternoon. Susanna is relieved, but as she stands outside to get some air, she sees Pilar at the window, murmuring in a low voice, her hands moving in slow and deliberate patterns. At that exact moment, a loud crash is heard from the street below. Adela has been killed in a traffic accident. Susanna is too frightened to go back inside. She sits at a ramen shop alone, then rests at a bus stop through the night. By morning, she has made a decision. She goes back, collects Pilar's things, and takes her to the nursing home the hospital had recommended. She apologizes over and over as she leaves her there. Back at the apartment, she records a voice message for Elvira saying she is flying back to Paris tonight. While cooking, she cracks open an egg and finds it full of maggots. Then the television reports that the nursing home has partially burned down. A sofa fire spread through the ventilation system. No survivors are confirmed. Susanna stares at the screen. Then she hears something behind her and turns around. Pilar is sitting in the apartment, smiling at her. Susanna is now certain. She has watched the caregiver die. She has watched the nursing home burn. She believes her grandmother is doing these things, that Pilar has some kind of power she cannot explain or escape. That night, Susanna poisons Pilar's dinner. After a few spoonfuls, Pilar begins struggling to breathe. Then she goes still. Susanna's phone alarm sounds at midnight. The date is March 22nd, their shared birthday. She calls the police and reports that her grandmother choked at dinner and has died. She asks how long until they arrive. While waiting, she picks up a framed photo she noticed earlier. Pilar and Eva sitting closely together. But when she looks at it again, it has changed. It is now Susanna standing beside Eva. The house phone rings. She answers. A woman's voice asks for Pilar. Susanna says this is Susanna. The voice says, "Are you sure?" The electricity cuts out. Susanna follows a faint glow down the hallway and finds a lit candle placed in front of the large painting of young Pilar. She tries to blow it out. It will not go out. Then it extinguishes itself. A drawer beneath the painting slides open on its own. Inside is a photograph of Susanna as a child, and around it, a ring of cut hair. Her hair. The hair Pilar cut on their shared birthday when Susanna was 8 years old. The truth becomes clear. Pilar and her friend Julita made a pact long ago, a ritual to cheat death by transferring their souls into the bodies of their granddaughters at a precise moment on a precise birthday. Julita has already completed the transfer into Eva's body. That is why Pilar was so overjoyed to see Eva at the beginning of the film. She was seeing her oldest friend alive again. And now Pilar has been preparing to do the same to Susanna. Susanna runs to the bathroom and locks herself in. The walls crack, the mirror shatters. She tries to escape the apartment but cannot move. All the stopped clocks begin ringing at once. Her body is no longer her own. Pilar walks toward her, chanting, pressing her fingers into Susanna's open mouth. Then it is over. Pilar opens her eyes inside Susanna's body. The clocks tick normally again. She walks to her old body on the floor and whispers, "Your body is yours, but your heart is mine." In the final scene, Pilar, now inhabiting Susanna's young body, stands before the great painting in the apartment. The painted face has changed. It is Susanna's face now. Eva arrives at the door and smiles, looking at her oldest friend return to life. The film ends.